And the lie that you have bought into, the lie that you have believed, the lie that unless something changes, you are going to be that person who can barely move, is the lie that you are too busy for fitness. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer, where armor is forged through mental, spiritual, and physical preparation. Welcome to First Responder Fitness with Carl Wimmer. I am your host, Carl Wimmer, and I thank you for joining me again for another episode. A very important episode, because this is episode number 4 in a series of episodes where we are discussing the biggest lies that you have believed about fitness and health and the fitness industry. We have covered a lot of ground in these last few videos, and yet none of them are as important, potentially, as this one, which is lie number 4. But before we get into that, I just want to encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs button and the bell button, and share this with your friends and family, those in the first responder community, but largely anyone interested in health, fitness, and longevity, because that is what we are all about here at First Responder Fitness. Before I tell you the title of this episode, I want to tell you a story that affected me really kind of in a deeply personal way. And it was just such an everyday activity that I was surprised that it affected me in the way that it did. But the other day I was at the post office, and I was watching as an older woman, I'm guessing maybe 15 years older than me, maybe 20 years older than me, made her way into the post office. She had a walker, and she was slumped over, and she was moving so slowly, shuffling her feet. When she got to a little low curb sidewalk, just get up on the sidewalk, it took her a minute to get her bearings and get her walker up there and then step up onto the sidewalk. She could barely move. Every step she took looked painful and difficult. Every movement looked strained and hard. And I found myself thinking about something that I hadn't thought deeply about before, maybe on that level. And it was, how much time is her poor health costing her right now? It made me wonder how many people tell themselves one of the biggest lies that people believe about the fitness industry, and the lie that you have bought into, the lie that you have believed, the lie that unless something changes, you are going to be that person who can barely move, is the lie that you are too busy for fitness. How much time is that poor woman's health costing her now? Her poor health, her entire life. I jumped out of my car, and I'm no young spring chicken. My knees kind of ache from years of competitive powerlifting. I've got issues with the joints in my shoulders from years of boxing, different issues. Of course, we all have them. But the fact is, I bounced out of my car, ran into the post office, checked my mail, got my boxes, got my packages, and I was out of the post office, I think, by the time she was even able to get into the post office. And of course, I've seen her before, and I've helped her and assisted her in the past as well. This time she was going to a different entrance, and so we did not have the opportunity. Our paths did not cross, but it just really got me thinking about this lie that we all tell ourselves when we're younger, that we just don't have time to focus on health and fitness and exercise. We're just too busy. Well, that isn't a lie the health industry tells us. It's not a lie that the fitness industry tells us. It's a lie we tell ourselves. And that could be the most nefarious lie of all. You see, I've covered other lies where the health industry really wants you to work off of motivation rather than discipline, because they know that motivation is fickle, and they know that your emotions and that your motivation will eventually drop. You'll need a new program. You'll need to spend more money. They just know this. We've talked about the lie that there's a perfect program for you, one that is specialized for you. That is so they can keep you buying their programs. We've also dispelled the myth that the fitness industry wants you to believe that fitness is complex, nutrition is complex, being healthy and fit is just simply complex, and it's not true. But they want you to believe that, because the more confused you are, the more money they make. But of all those lies, even though they are motivated by money, and they are indeed lies to keep you dumbed down and keep you spending money, I believe the worst lies are the ones we tell ourselves. The worst lies are the ones that we tell ourselves and the ones that we believe. They're the ones that are the excuses that keep us from optimizing our health. And I want to be very, very clear here. I have compassion. This is not judgment. I am not judging anybody who has made that excuse. There is grace, and there is always opportunities to change. I have incredible compassion for young parents who are just trying to balance work and home life and raising children and getting little Johnny to T-ball and just whatever they have to do to keep the house going. I have compassion. But I do think the modern culture has sold us this lie of being too busy, because it's just not true. And I hope that today we can peel back the layers to this lie and hopefully set you free from deceiving yourself. One of the things that I hear often, and you've probably heard this yourself, or you've probably said it yourself, is that you just don't have time to work out. It takes too long. You don't have time. You're just too stinking busy. You're putting in 60 hours a week at work. You have T-ball and baseball and little league, and you have home life and church life and school and whatever the case may be. You're just too busy to work out. You're too busy to meal prep. Or, right now I'm in a busy season of my life, and maybe later in life, maybe a little later when this season passes, I'll focus on my health. But the problem is that life never slows down. And it's taken me a long time to realize that. It's taken me decades to realize that. I thought for sure that when the kids had grown up and moved out, that life would slow down. I thought for sure that when the kids got bigger and could take care of themselves, life would slow down. The truth is, life is a vacuum. And so anytime that there is more time, you find a way to fill that time. And the important thing here is what you decide to fill that time with. The reality is, every human being at every stage of life is busy. Life really doesn't slow down. And if you're in your 20s, newly married with young kids, and you think that you'll have more time in your 30s when the kids get a little more independent, you're deceiving yourself. You will not have more time. Just ask someone in their 30s where their kids have a little more independence. They are still struggling to find time. Parents are busy. You first responders, you are very, very busy. Police officers, firefighters, paramedics, you are busy. Your lives are busy. Pastors are busy. School teachers are busy. Business owners are busy. But you know what doesn't care how busy you are? Your health. Your health does not care how busy you are. It doesn't pause and take a time out and say, oh, this guy's really busy. We need to give him a break and not add 20 pounds to his gut, to his belt line this year. Let's give him a break. Or this woman's really, really busy. Let's not push her into type 2 diabetes just because she can't exercise and she's not eating healthy. She's not meal prepping. She's not doing the things she needs to do. Your health doesn't slow down for you. It doesn't pause for you. It continues to either get better or get worse. Yes, fitness costs you time. There's no question about it. But I contend, after seeing this dear woman at the post office, the poor health will cost you far more time on the back end, and it will cost you far more money, far more joy, and far more freedom. You think that being tied down to the gym now, you think that carving out time now is going to disrupt your freedom, your life, your ability to do the things you want to do. One of the earliest episodes I did was choose your hard now or later. You can choose to exercise, and that's hard now. Or you can choose not to exercise and later in your life face the consequences of that, which will be far harder than your decision to spend time in the gym. Think about that. Yes, fitness costs time, but poor health costs so much more. There's obviously reasons people believe this lie. Let's just slow down for a second, and let's just list these. I'm only going to list maybe 3 or 4. You could probably come up with more. But what are the biggest excuses? What are the biggest lies that we tell ourselves about not having enough time? Well, the first one is that, and this is really kind of a reality, but the first one is that distractions. Modern life is distracting. Our cell phones are probably the biggest distraction. Streaming TV and streaming movies, big distraction. They're almost like time machines. You ever notice that you sit down and you start scrolling I'm just going to scroll for 10 minutes, and the next thing you know, your cookies are burning in the oven. Okay, it's unbelievable how much time goes by when you shut your brain off and you're just randomly doom scrolling through your phone. Social media. I've had a belly full of social media as of recently, because everyone is so toxic. I end my episodes every time with be good to yourself, be good to others, and stay safe. I don't think people are listening. We're not good to ourselves, and we're not good to others, especially in social media outlets. It's so easy to get angry at someone you don't know. It's so easy to pop off and yell and treat them like you would never treat anybody else. I wonder how many of us would be embarrassed. And I'll raise my hand here. How many of us would be embarrassed to have the way that we talk to certain people on social media put up on a big screen and displayed at a family reunion, or in front of our children, in front of our parents, or in front of our church group? We just need to be better. And social media, it's a time sucker. It's a time consumer. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm on it necessarily for first responder fitness and for other things, but it is a time consumer. And this constant stimulation that we are in this society, I swear it's making us all ADD. We're all attention deficit, because if we don't get instant feedback from things, we get bored. So modern life is just distracting. The second biggest issue that we have is this idea of perfection. People sometimes think that fitness requires perfection, and that is sometimes the result of unreasonable photoshopped pictures of people who are fit and look good, or drugged to the gills bodybuilders who are jacked but are anything but healthy. It's the idea that, hey, if you're not working out for 2 hours, you're wasting your time in the gym. That's nonsense. Complex or complicated meal plans, expensive gyms. Sometimes gyms and gym memberships can be very expensive. And of course, you need the ideal schedule, right? You will only work out if you can carve out the perfect time, the perfect frame in order to do it. Well, that's silly. That's silly. One of the biggest detriments, one of the biggest problems, I think, that we have, especially when you're younger. I don't have this as much anymore now that I've got a few years under my belt, but when you're younger, you tell yourself the future is far away. You've got all the time. You've got all the time in the world. You have plenty of time. But it's not true. You don't have all the time in the world. You don't have plenty of time, because take it from someone who's now lived, 50 years. And looking back, man, the time goes by so fast. It goes so fast. And you don't have as much time as you think you do. You say, oh, I'll just deal with it later. I'll get healthy later. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. You think, I still have plenty of time. I'll get in shape. But you know what? Later comes really, really quick. And the next thing you know is you haven't spent any time in the gym. You haven't spent any time meal prepping. You haven't paid attention to your health at all. And now you're being forced to, because you had a heart attack. You've got diabetes. You've got neurodegenerative disease. You've got all sorts of illnesses and sicknesses that are slowing you down and forcing you to now focus on it, and eventually making you use a walker, moving very, very slowly to go pick up your mail. Later comes a lot quicker than you think. Finally, we come to one that I want to be gentle with, but I want to be blunt. And it is this: we avoid discomfort. People don't like to be uncomfortable. We avoid discomfort. This coming weekend is a heavyweight title boxing fight in Egypt, of all places, between frankly, my all-time favorite boxer, Alexander Usyk, and kickboxer Rico Verhoeven. And he's a great guy, and he's probably the best kickboxer in the history of the sport. And Rico is being interviewed, and she said, why are you doing this? Why are you taking a crossover fight, moving from kickboxing, going into the boxing arena, fighting a legend like Alexander Usyk? And Rico said, I don't like to be comfortable. That was remarkable. That was amazing. He said, I don't like to be comfortable. And she pushed back on that a little bit. He says, well, sure. I mean, I like comfy cars and I like comfy blankets. When it's time to be comfortable, I want to be comfortable, but I don't like my life being comfortable. I like to be pushed. I like to be challenged, because only when you're pushed and challenged do you grow. Understand, though, yes, exercise feels hard now. And yes, you don't like it. It makes your heart beat fast. It makes your muscles hurt and ache. It makes you sweat. And it's not comfortable. But you've got to lose your addiction to comfort. I swear the entire world has become addicted to comfort. And perhaps this is my SWAT team leader mentality coming through. Maybe it is the fact that I've been a competitive weightlifter before, a competitive fighter, but I don't understand the addiction to comfort. I love to be comfortable. I love to just kick my feet up and relax, but I could not live that way. I must challenge myself. Some of the, when I used to jog a lot, and I would personally choose to go out and jog in the heat of the day, on the hottest day, because simply for the reason that it was hard. It was hard to do. And it pushed me and it challenged me. And I also coach, amongst other things, track and field. And if it starts to rain or it's really bad weather, I love fake enthusiasm. And I tell the kids, I love fake enthusiasm. Listen, this is free weather training, no extra cost. I'm not even going to charge you more. We need to get in the mentality that difficult things are not bad things. The discomfort is not bad. Stop being addicted to discomfort. That's the biggest problem when it comes to health and fitness and this lie of not having enough time. You have enough time. What you don't have is enough discipline to push through the discomfort. And that needs to stop. I want to talk about the real cost of neglecting your health, because there's a real cost. And, this excuse of I don't have even 45 minutes to exercise. Let's think about that for a second. You're telling me you don't have 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the evening, 45 minutes sometime carved throughout the day where you can go for a jog, where you can do push-ups, calisthenics, sit-ups, whatever it is, lift weights, whatever it is you need to do to prioritize your health. Because I promise you this, if you don't, you're going to spend a lot more time than 45 minutes at the doctor's office, doctor's appointments, medications, keeping track of your medications, surgeries, surgery recoveries. You're going to be facing chronic pain and fatigue. You're going to have reduced mobility. All that time that, those 45 minutes that you could have spent every single day working out. Instead, as you're older, you can't even leave your home. You're stuck in your house. Now, even if you wanted to spend 45 minutes to go for a walk, you're so out of shape and your health is so poor, you can't. You've lost the most important thing, freedom. Freedom. You've lost your personal liberty to your bad choices. You are dependent on other people. You no longer have the ability to travel, and that one would kill me. My wife and I have already been out of the country once this year, and we have several more travel vacations coming up before the end of the year. We love to travel. We love to go see things and places and be with people. You lose that. Just recently, I was playing with my wife and I. We watch our grandkids at least twice a week. Sometimes she'll go watch them, and then the next day I'll go watch them. Other times we go together. Just recently, we were together, and the grandkids wanted me to ride a bike with them. No big deal, but I didn't have my bike there. And they said, ride our dad's bike, but their dad's bike had a flat tire. So the one grandson, he pulled out a big wheel. Remember the big wheel? Well, you'll remember the big wheel when you see this video of me driving it around. There I am on the big wheel, riding in the street with my grandkids, okay? I want to be able to do that for years to come with all the grandkids. But do you think I would be able to even get on the big wheel if I didn't have some type of mobility or flexibility? Getting on that thing was a lot harder than riding it around in the street. It was a lot harder getting on and off of it because of the flexibility it took. But I want to enjoy life fully. And you will not be able to unless you prioritize your health and your fitness and your nutrition right now. So no matter where you are, I encourage you to start now. The time you invest, the time you spend exercising right now, today, is buying you freedom in the future. It's buying your tomorrow freedom, your freedom to do what you want to do. I especially want to talk to you first responders. Listen, you are working your guts out for other people. You are sacrificing. You're on the front lines, sacrificing your sometimes your health, your sanity. You're risking your life for others. You work so hard that when you reach retirement, wouldn't it be nice to be able to do the things you want to do? But if you're not healthy, you will not be able to do what you finally want to do. You go from doing what you had to do as a police officer or firefighter to doing what you have to do now as someone who is under the care of a physician all the time. You've lost your independence. You know, people talk about lifespan. They want to live a long time. I don't. Yeah, I do too. But I care far more than lifespan. I care about my capability. I care about my health span, as Dr. Peter Attia often talks about. He says there's lifespan. That's how long you're alive. That's very binary. You're either alive or dead. But there's health span. And that's the how long in your life are you able to do the things you want to do? And unfortunately, that is getting worse and worse and worse. Lifespan's increasing. Health span is decreasing. I don't want to just live until I'm 80. I want to be able to ride that freaking big wheel until I'm 80. How would that be? What do I have to do to be able to do that? I have to have mobility. I have to have flexibility. I have to have muscle. I have to have strength. I have to have cardiovascular endurance. Those are the things that I know I will need. So I prepare now so that 30, 40 years from now, I can still do it. But most of you are just sitting there doing nothing. You're sitting there eating French fry after French fry, which I love French fries, but you're eating French fry after French fry, and you're not doing anything to prepare yourself for the future. One day you're going to meet your future self. Will you be who you want to be? Or are you going to be someone who is decrepit and broken down and just waiting for time to pass until you die? My friends, that's a sad life. Don't be that way. Longevity without capability is absolutely not my goal. That's a nightmare. Longevity without capability is my worst nightmare. People oftentimes say, oh, if I was ever old and I was ever not able to take care of myself, I wouldn't want to live. Yeah, me neither. But that's a reality for most people. Most people who don't exercise, it's just a reality. If you don't keep going and you're not busy and you're not involved with socially, we're talking also mentally, spiritually, we need to talk about those things, the keys to longevity. And we'll have an episode on that upcoming very soon about the keys to longevity. It's more than just physical. There's mental aspects to it. There's spiritual aspects to it. But right now we're focusing on the physical. Longevity is not the goal. Capability is the goal. And that's so important. Understand this. People think fitness takes time, but the fact is fitness returns time to you. And I know that, well, how does that work? Fitness does take time up front, on the front end, but on the back end, it gives you time. It gives you a lot more time. How? Well, it gives you energy. As you get older, you'll have more energy. I think about myself now, and I was telling my wife this a couple days ago. I think I have far more energy right now at 50 than I did at 30. Now, that's not because I didn't exercise at 30. It's just that at 30, I was 285-pound power lifter. I was heavy. I was sluggish. My wife only wished I could go pull weeds in the yard like I could deadlift. I mean, here I am deadlifting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but I was too fatigued to go out and do yard work. I wouldn't want to go do yard work. I wasn't mobile. I was kind of trapped inside of my fat, powerful, muscular body. Fitness increases your productivity, increases your energy, increases your mental clarity. You get better sleep. You're more resilient. We've mentioned that. You're harder to kill. First responders, it's very important. Fitness makes you harder to kill. If you are strong, fit, and you are healthy, you'll have fewer sick days, fewer days where you're sick and down and out and just laying in bed. You'll have mobility, you'll have confidence. When your body functions better, your entire life functions better. When you function, when your body functions better, your entire life is just better. It functions better. If you're a first responder, you know how I feel about this. Your body is part of your job. You have no right at this point to be out of shape or deconditioned. You must be in shape because you signed on the dotted line to defend others. How can you defend others if you can't even move your own body? Fatigue affects your performance. Poor health affects your decision-making. And your capability as a police officer or a firefighter, well, that matters because someone else's life is on the line, not just your own. And for you men, talk to you men for a minute because you know that this is something I'm passionate about. But you men, your job is to provide and protect your family. Your family depends on your ability to function and move and to do things and to work. Are you failing them in that regard? Well, pick yourself up and get yourself to work. Get yourself in the gym. Watch your nutrition. Leadership requires that you are capable. Yes, you can be the old wise sage. Fine. But that's not what your family needs right now. They need a warrior. Your family needs a man. Your family needs a warrior who is taking care of himself, who can fight, who can provide, who can work, who is functional to take care of the family. Strength matters to manhood. Energy matters to manhood and to fatherhood. Be the kind of leader you need to be. Model healthy behavior for your family. You are not too busy to model healthy behavior for your kids. Take them to the gym with you. There's a family that goes to my gym, husband and wife, and they bring their little boy to the gym. And he's oftentimes loud. It's fine. They're there working out, and they're modeling a proper behavior for him. I guess the question is, are you too busy to save your own life? Are you too busy to care about your future? Are you too busy right now to care about what happens to you in the future? I hope not. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need 2-hour workouts. You don't need elite genetics. And you don't need endless free time. But what you do need is to get rid of your excuses. You need to reassess your priorities. You need consistency. You need intentionality. And you need to start focusing on your fitness because, my friends, as you know, people always make time. People always make time for what matters most. So I hope your health and fitness matters to you. There is a ton of health and fitness information on this YouTube page and in this podcast. If you've made the decision that you are going to prioritize fitness, go back and watch some of these episodes. I can help you. Leave a comment or a question below. I encourage you to start focusing on your health, start focusing on your fitness, because your future self will thank you for it. I'm Carl Wimmer with First Responder Fitness, encouraging you, as always, be good to yourself, be good to others, and as always, stay safe.